guys, it's Marcy from Heathers and Hops. I'm doing a special video today. This is going to be a video about the differences between the Snap Duo 2 Tailormade and the Snap Duo Trend. So this is my Snap Duo 2. I'm the third owner of this. I bought it in January of 2018 for my second baby. And it's been great. I love it, love it, love it. But I upgraded to the new Trend. So I wanted to show the differences of what I love about the old version that the new one doesn't have, but the things that I love about the new version that I think are awesome improvements that the old one does not have. So I'm definitely glad that I upgraded, but there are a few things that I miss. You'll notice that on the on this one I have one bar cover. These are actually bar covers you can get through Valco VIP on Facebook. They're not something you buy off the Valco website, but I didn't want to take my cup holder off and put this back on, so I'm just going to leave it on, just so you know that this is available to purchase, and you can also get covers. The set comes with covers for the belly bars as well, but I did take those off. So, so let's get into it. So right off the bat, you can probably see that the Snap Duo Trend is taller because the canopies are higher. So that is one main difference. I'm going to get into measurements of that in a minute, but let's just kind of talk about the bones of the stroller here. The wheels in the front are different. So you can see on the Snap Duo 2 that they have double front wheels, which don't look as nice, but they do make the stroller very stable. So I actually barely used those wheels. I took them off and put air tires on pretty much immediately, like within a couple of months of using this, and I much prefer the air tires. I do like the stability of the two front wheels, but they're just bulky to store in the trunk. You know, they don't maneuver as well. So I really am glad that Valco put single tires on the front of the new Snap Duo Trend. So it still feels as stable, but it just looks a lot nicer. So I really like that. The other thing is that there is no adjustable handle on the Snap Duo 2. There is an adjustable handle on the Snap Duo Tailormade. And if I put them kind of back to back here, you can see that even at the mid point, this is like the middle setting on the Trend right here, you can see that it's still a little bit taller. So I believe that the Snap Duo 2 comes up to 41 inches. So this is about 42-ish. And it also adjusts down like that. So it's a little bit lower than where the Snap Duo 2 comes. And then it also goes up like this. There we go. So it's up higher like that. I really like it up at this height. I keep it up here a lot of the time. So you can see that even at the middle setting, it's still a little bit higher than the Snap Duo 2. This is one thing that always bothered me about the Snap Duo 2 is that I felt like it was too low. I always felt a little bit hunched over. So I'm really loving the higher handle setting on the Trend. That's been one of my favorite features. Another thing that you're going to notice is the fold on the strollers. So on the Snap Duo 2, the fold is a two-step fold. So there's a button right here. You press this button in, and then you press here, and the stroller will fold over on itself, just like you're used to seeing with Valco strollers. So clicks down, pop the hinge, and pop it back up. So a two-step process, whereas with the Trend, it's a one-handed fold. So I press the button down here, I clasp the button up here, and I push it over. And it goes down. I do think that the fold on the Trend is smoother, having used the 2 for so long. One of the other major differences are the buckles. So on the Snap Duo 2, this is Valco's signature buckle, where you have to press these parts, the clips down here, and then press in the button. So you cannot do it with one hand. So I'm going to have to put the camera down in order to show you that. But I'm going to actually push down here and then push this button in. And then it's a puzzle buckle and it comes apart. So I really, really like this buckle because my toddler could not escape from it. The buckle on the Trend is a lot easier. She has yet to escape from it, but she's definitely trying. So this one's like impossible, whereas on the Trend, it's like this, and it just explodes open. So while both of them have their pluses and minuses, I definitely, at the end of the day, prefer this one because I can do it with one hand. Because inevitably, especially when you're using a double stroller, it means you have two kids. So if I've got my baby in one arm and I want to get my toddler out because she can hop out on her own, I can just go like that. So I do like that. The biggest difference for me has to do with the buckles, the harnesses rather. On the Snap Duo 2, the harnesses are extremely difficult to adjust. I'm not even going to attempt it because it takes me like a billion years to do it. I don't really understand how they work. I just kind of fiddle with it and hope for the best to tighten them and loosen them. It takes a while. It's kind of a pain in the neck. Once you do it, you kind of just leave it alone. I don't like that feature about it. I don't really understand why they did that. And then with the Trend, it's just your simple, your standard, kind of like, pull it like that. It's very smooth. You can tighten and loosen very quickly and easily. There's no learning curve to it. It's your standard harness. So I do like that much, much better. On the back of the stroller, you can see differences with the pockets. So on the Snap Duo 2, you have open pockets here. There's a smaller, like a narrower one on one side and then a wider one on the other side. And on the Trend, you have one big zipper pocket on the back of each seat. I prefer the zipper. I use the zippers all the time. It's like having another stroller organizer. And I can keep things in there and not worry about them having to fall out when I fold the stroller, which occasionally would happen with this. So I definitely like having the zippers. The brake is exactly the same, my favorite part of Valco. Side-to-side brake on both. You do have the carry strap on both. And when you fold the stroller, there's like little handles that come out. Those are on both as well. You do have standard on the Trend, the leatherette handlebar covers and belly bar covers, whereas on the Snap Duo 2, it's just a foam handle. But again, you can get those through the Valco VIP group. You can get the covers that zip on, and for the belly bars as well. The basket size is definitely deeper on the Trend. I think that it's more accessible as well. The seats kind of pop up a little bit for you to get stuff in, but I was never able to get my big diaper bag in this one. And even though this is stretchy and elastic back here, the seats move up and down much more easily underneath the Trend. And so even though this isn't as stretchy, I still can get my big diaper bag in there because it's deeper. So it kind of like curves at the bottom, the basket, whereas that one's flat. So I'm able to fit a lot more in this basket. It's much, much more accessible. So I'm really, really enjoying that feature of it. So you've got your zip pockets here versus your open pockets. You've got a more accessible and deeper basket. And you've got your handlebar cover differences. You will notice that the frame on the Trend is matte black, and on the Snap Duo 2 is kind of like a gray aluminum. So I think it's a much cleaner look on the Trend. One thing that's a difference that I really kind of bummed about, and I think this was just a design oversight for Valco, was that on the 2, I can actually toggle this up so that when my seat is reclined with my baby in there, I can keep that up so that the baby can, get more ventilation. On the Trend, they forgot to put those on. So there's no way to toggle it up unless I want to add something. But I found that I can kind of like tuck it up and it stays up, but I really do wish that I had the option to toggle it. That would be really nice. The Velcro I just noticed this, the Velcro here to Velcro this down is right on the back here, and on the Trend it's on the sides, so it's much cleaner. So I like that a lot. So that does it for the back of the stroller. Let me show you something in the canopies. So you can see the height differences on these canopies. This is a lot lower than the Trend. You can see the differences there. So on the 2, you've got Velcro peekaboo windows, which do wake up your kid. They can be toggled back, which I kind of kept them permanently toggled because it was so annoying to do the Velcro. And on the Trend, you've got magnet, which is great. So the viewing window on the Trend is much smaller. So if you're tall, you can see in there, but if you're shorter, not so much. So I much prefer the placement of the peekaboo window on the Snap Duo 2 over the Trend. And I like the fact that I can toggle it back. I wish that on the Trend there was some way to keep this up. It falls down all the time. So what I'm going to do is probably put some magnet underneath here, like sew it in on the actual hood so that I can snap it up and keep it up. I wish that it came down instead of up. I wish that it was like this. This is a much better design. I can see my kids much more easily than I can in the Snap Duo Trend. So for what that's worth. So I'm 5'4.5". I can see into the peekaboo window here just fine, but if you're shorter, you might have a little bit of an issue with that. So while we're on the subject of canopies, let's talk about that. So I'm going to put these like this. Let's talk about the canopies here. Okay. So you can see the difference in height. And I actually have a measuring tape here, so I'm going to measure for you. So from the seat to the top of the canopy in the Snap Duo 2 is 25 inches. And in the Trend, it's 26.5 inches. So you got an extra 1.5 inches of headroom in the Trend. That's a lot, especially if you have taller children. When you open the panel on the 2, you get that much coverage, which is great. And then on the Trend, where you got those 2 panels, so you go 1, and then you go 2. So there's definitely a ton more coverage on the Snap Duo Trend over the Snap Duo 2. One thing that they did on the 2 that they don't do on the Trend is that the footrest can go all the way up like that to the belly bar. So when I had my newborn, I had a bassinet that was completely enclosed, and I really, really loved that. If I do that on my Trend, it goes up that high. So it's still pretty enclosed. So it's kind of like a toss-up. On this one, you've got totally more coverage. Like, the baby's completely enclosed in here too. Whereas on this one, you've got the closure here, but you've got all this open space here. I will say too, though, that my baby fit in there with the seat footrest all the way up for like maybe a month, and then he grew. So you really don't use it like that for very long. Actually, the reason that they did this was because the footrest, if it came all the way up like this one, it would hit the canopy. So I'd rather have that canopy coverage for the longevity of the stroller to use with older children than to have the ability to put this all the way up to use for like a month or two with a newborn, and then, you know, not have this coverage moving forward, as much coverage I mean. So I think it's better to have the canopy coverage. One feature about the Snap Duo Trend that is talked about a lot is the footwells. So the seats, the footrest goes like kind of in, and then there's this footwell here, and you actually do have that on the 2 as well, but it's not rubberized, so it's much easier to keep it clean on the Trend. There's kind of fabric here, so it gets dirty. It's not the Tailormade fabric, it's just like a nylon, I guess, whereas this is rubber, so you can just wipe it out, which is really nice. Seat dimensions are a little bit different. On the Trend, you've got a 19-inch seat back, which is really nice. Remember, you've got that 26.5-inch canopy height and a 19-inch seat back. On the 2, you've got 18.5, so it's a little bit shorter by 1/2 inch, and you've got that 1.5 inch difference in the canopy height. So that's a big difference when you're thinking about the longevity of the stroller. The seat width on the 2 is about 12 inches, so it's a foot. And on the Trend, it's also 12 inches. So you got the same seat width on both, and the strollers are about the same width overall, about between 29 and 29.5 inches. So nice and narrow, fits through any doorway. Although I do think that the Trend is easier to get through just because it has those single wheels in the front. One little thing that I found was different on the Trend is that the buttons to push the footrest down on the Trend are bigger than on the Snap Duo 2. The Snap Duos are kind of small. These are much wider and nicer, and they also have a little pull thing right here. So you can, like a little pull loop. So you can put your finger in there to pull it up. Not so on the Snap Duo 2. So overall, the main differences are much better canopy height on the Trend, higher seat, adjustable handle, the leatherette accents, the single wheels in the front, the rubberized footwell, a more accessible basket, zipper pockets on the back, and the bigger canopy coverage. We love that. Magnetic peekaboo windows. Some of the features that you lose on the Trend are the ability to toggle the pockets up on the back of the stroller and the ability to toggle the peekaboo window open. So I'm going to try some hacks and report back and see what I can figure out to make this work for me. We've also got the easier to use harness and buckles on the Trend, so it's much easier to adjust the harness tightness or looseness, and the buckle's much easier to open. So I really do like that as well. You've got the black frame, you've got the zippered pockets, you've got the one-handed fold. So overall, I'm really, really glad that I upgraded. I love my 2. I love it. It's a great stroller. It was great with the air tires. My kids loved it. It still looks really new for being, 3 years old. But I'm really glad that I upgraded. So if you guys like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to see any more Valco review videos, let me know. I'll be happy to put some together. Bye guys.